Eric Perry commits to the Auburn Tigers.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into this special live edition of Locked On Auburn. Brian Smith joining me. I'm your host, Zach Blackerby. Thank you for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. Make the portal your second listen. Go check out Brian. Eric Perry commits to the Auburn Tigers, Brian. And this is a guy that you and I spent a lot of time talking about yesterday afternoon. That show will not go up because it is now dated. We're going to post it this afternoon. But this is a guy that has tremendous upside and was kind of flying under the radar until he took an official visit yesterday. Plays quarterback at his high school in Mississippi, and Auburn sees him as a running back at the next level.
This is a great story, excuse me, because so many kids get overlooked like this. He plays at a high school that they obviously don't have somebody that's a passer. He can throw it a little bit, but when you watch the film, there's about 5 plays. He just drops back to pass and decides to run. Good luck catching him.
Sure.
Quarterback draw, quarterback counter, quarterback lead, some kind of an option play. They all lead to the same thing, him making people look stupid in space. He's about 6 foot, 5'11", whatever, 195 pounds. Great balance after contact. He has the ability to change direction and home run speed. But he plays at a little itty-bitty school kind of deal, like that doesn't normally have a ton of players. This is great. Good for Auburn for going after the kid that they saw in film. Like, we don't care what everybody else is doing. We want that guy. I love that.
It doesn't scream plan A, right? But it does scream like, hey, we like this kid. His other offers are Jackson State, Murray State, North Alabama, Sacramento State. And then it's Auburn, an SEC team. So honestly, hats off to this staff, like you said, for having the confidence in their evaluation of his tape, and of him as a player, and then knowing their scheme and their system to say, you know what? Yeah, we're not only going to offer you, but this is a committable offer. And in fact, like, it seems like you're interested. Like, let's go ahead and do this.
Why not? I mean, Auburn.
If you're Eric, why wouldn't you take it either? Right.
Well, that's why I told you yesterday when you brought this up. I'm like, this kid's going to commit.
Yeah.
Because everybody around him is going to say, look, this is the one high-level offer you have, and they've committed to recruiting you. They brought you in on a visit. How long is that offer going to be available? And I knew that it would be quickly. I didn't know it'd be today, but I figured the next 2-3, and like, boom, it wasn't even 24 hours later.
Yeah, so let's talk about Perry just for a little bit deeper, and then we'll talk about what it does for the class. So this guy's 6 foot, 195 is what 247 has him as. I think 247 is the only place that has him ranked. 3-star there. I mean, I certainly think if other folks have found him, I think his tape would definitely warrant a ranking. I don't think that's a crazy thing to say. But, I mean, his tape, not a crazy amount of wiggle, but he has the speed, and he's got the athleticism, and he's got the size where it's like, yes, this makes sense to go to the next level.
Yeah, why not? Take that player, you use him at running back. I think they'll use him in the slot some too. I assume he can catch because he's such a good athlete. He makes one cut and then he hits the jets. Like, his most important trait is first step speed. When he hits the hole, it is now. And like at the high school level, it's comical. He looks like a video game with Bo Jackson on Tecmo Bowl when he was with the. That's what it reminds me of.
Yeah.
So
it's going to be hard to not compare him to oh goodness,
Jarquez Hunter.
No. I'm thinking more of like, especially when you said the slot thing. I'm like, I wasn't going to say this, but since you said the slot receiver thing, I see a little bit of like Jartavius Whitlow. Do you remember him?
I remember the name, but I don't.
Yeah. He was, he played multiple positions at his high school, and then he came to Auburn, and he was, he was Auburn's starter for a little bit there. But I think there's going to be some similarities of like, you can play, like you're just an athlete. I do think it's going to be interesting to see if other schools now come after Eric Perry.
Big question.
Because this is a pretty bold move for Auburn. And I think you could say like, oh, well, this guy's a diamond in the rough, especially if you're Ole Miss or Mississippi State and you want to get an in-state guy. That could be something. Or do you say like, there's no way this guy's not like loyal to Auburn at this point, because he knows his situation. He knows that Auburn's kind of like sticking it out there for him, saying like, we believe in you. And that's got to mean a lot to this kid.
I don't know how it wouldn't. And I bet you his family members, like mom, grandma, etc., that'll mean even more.
Sure.
Why wouldn't, you want your kid to get the best, and they're the only one at that level that's offering him. Let's take a really close look at this. Why are we waiting? That's my guess. As to your point about other schools, let me answer that for you. That's common. Because those staff meetings, this is how this works. So-and-so just committed this kid, but what's going on at Auburn? When the 4-star kid commits to Florida State or Florida or whatever, it is what it is. Everybody's already scouted him.
Mm-hmm.
But when this happens, and it's pretty rare, everybody's going to go back and look at his film. It's
right.
Time before Arkansas or Tennessee or Kentucky or somebody else. I would be surprised if his phone hasn't rang and his coaches hasn't. I have no idea what this kid's going to do. I don't know him. I don't know the program, but my gut tells me that he's going to get calls. What he does with it is the interesting part. There's only a couple of recruiting weekends left, probably not a lot of time to build relationships. And I'm only going to assume a few other schools had even contacted him. So if anything happens, it'd be a little surprising right now, but in the fall would be the big question mark. Maybe he takes a fall visit somewhere if Georgia offered or Texas or something like that. But right now he's just a diamond in the rough that Auburn found. And I think it's hilarious.
Yeah.
Because there's always a couple of kids like Florida State took a kid yesterday. I didn't know anything. He's from Booker T. Washington in Atlanta. One of his visits was to Georgia State.
Mm-hmm.
But I watched the film and I'm like, this kid's really good.
Right.
It happens. It happens.
It does happen. Does happen.
Now the question is, what does the young man think about the other offers that are impending? It's inevitable. Yeah,
and there's people in the live chat right now saying this. Like, I don't think this is part of the quarterback conversation. He's listed as a quarterback. I think Auburn sees him as a running back. I
zero chance he's playing QB for the Auburn Tigers. Now in the red zone, let me throw this out there.
Like a package or whatever.
Sure.
I mean, gosh,
Auburn starting quarterback.
That. But as far as what he's being recruited to do, he's being recruited to be a running back. It says QB on his 247 page, but he is being recruited to play running back. So people are saying 3-star quarterback from Mississippi. He's like, he's a running back. As far as Auburn's concerned, that's where he is committed to. He is a running back. Take that for what it's worth.
Yeah, I don't see any reason not to. And I think he's a guy that will fit in well with what they do. He's used to running the RPO from the quarterback position.
Yeah.
Now you just put him at running back. I mean, it's the same kind of concept. It'll be an easy transition for him.
I agree. So what does this mean for the class? And what does it mean for Eric Perry? More on that in just a moment, right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. FanDuel is America's #1 sports book. And right now, if you're new to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up. You can head to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. And if it wins, you get $200 in bonus bets. You can take Auburn -2.5 right now against Baylor to open the season. You also can take Auburn plus or minus 7.5 wins over at FanDuel. They've got you covered. FanDuel.com is the official sports betting partner of the NBA. And, of course, the Locked On Podcast Network. Brian Smith, host of The Portal, hanging out with us as we react to Eric Perry, the running back from South Haven, Mississippi, goes to DeSoto Central, committing to the Auburn Tigers, expected to play running back at the next level. Before we kind of discuss the 2026 class, because I think there's several elements of this that are interesting, and this is a semi-nuanced situation. The state of Mississippi is super interesting when it comes to recruiting because it's not really scouted, Brian. Could you kind of tell us the landscape of what that looks like? You're muted, so we can hear your wisdom. There you are, my guy.
Mississippi is such a massive state that it just logistically is a nightmare. Secondarily, unlike, let's use the state of Georgia, not much different in size, but it's much more concentrated on where the players are. It's from Athens to Atlanta and some of the outskirts. There's a South Central Georgia's got some programs, but overall, there's about 10 programs south of Macon that you're interested in. North Georgia, you can just send your coaches there, boom, you're done. Mississippi, there's a few kids in Jackson, but it's more about one kid in every freaking town. So that state gets overlooked. Even Auburn, to be honest, Alabama, they don't necessarily recruit it super heavy, and that's the state over. LSU recruits it a little bit, but more southern Mississippi, it's just a pain. So this happens in Mississippi as much or more than any other state. And I think Auburn's got a couple of guys with Mississippi ties. Obviously, the coordinator came over from Ole Miss. He's probably the guy that got this done. But unless you know somebody at some of these schools, like on a personal level, a lot of these kids don't get any exposure.
Right.
So I think it's great for the kid, first off, and great for Auburn again. But this is as random as it gets. It's the hardest state. We talk about this in the recruiting industry all the time. Nobody wants to go to any camps or anything there because only a few kids go to each one. There's no centralized ability to get it done. So like from one part of the state to the other, it's 6 hours. It's forever. So it's a pain. As for Auburn's running back room, my big question now is, where does Auburn stand with Jay Lamar? Are they still going after him? Yes. I knew you were going to ask that, so I just jumped in.
Let's just go to it. Yeah.
He's a dude. And he's at one of my favorite South Georgia programs. South Georgia has Colquitt County. It's one of the coolest places on earth to see a game. I love that place. And he is a freaking dude. Florida State, Georgia, Miami, Auburn, you name it. Is every school in the country wants him. I haven't heard anything the last few days. Now I need to look into that. Is Auburn out? Did they care? Is there a reason they took? I have no idea what the answer is. And
I mean, and I think Jay Lamar and then Derek Cooper's the other one. Like those two guys are so good, in my opinion, where if you still have a shot with them, you still pursue them and you just figure it out once they're all on campus, whatever.
Right.
But the other element of this that I don't see discussed a whole lot when talking about Auburn's running back situation is who Auburn already has on campus that's supposed to be in this class, right, with the Auburn high school stud. And I think that's going to matter with this as well. And so, like, he's supposed to be in this class, and he's not. And I'm blanking on his name. I love him as a player. Why can't I think of his name? I'm so mad at myself. Help me out, chat. What is his name?
I just had it in front of me a little bit ago, but yeah, I've forgotten about it. Yeah, he's 5'9", 215 and built like an NFL player, but it's not the physicality.
Omar Mapson. Omar Mapson. That was driving me crazy. I'm so sorry, Omar. I think you're a heck of a player, but people forget, like, he's supposed to be in the 2026 class. And so,
reclassed. Yeah.
And so is that viewed by this coaching staff as, is he just going to be a more prepared, guy when he's ready to play instead of, getting prepared at the high school level, he's getting prepared at the SEC level? I don't know. I'm curious to see how they handle all that.
I think that it's kind of dog eat dog world. Auburn's running back room, you get two really good kids in state last year, Mapson being the second, but he reclassed. You got the other kid you bring in, it's a guy that played 1A football, but just broke every record known to man. Which one assimilates to the offense first? Whoever it is probably your third or fourth running back this year. Kind of, depends on how it works out. But Auburn's running back room is the hardest thing. And you and I have talked about this on air and off. We don't know the depth chart for sure because it's situational with some of these guys and what they're good at. I wouldn't want to bank on it. And now you also got to bring to the factor, like this kid they're just bringing, he's 17 years old. I don't even know when he turns 18 yet. And he's going to be at Auburn. It's crazy. So if you don't bring in another running back, I think you would at least try to redshirt Omar. I would hope so. That would be the best.
A real shot. Omar and Alvin get redshirted.
It's possible.
If you want to do that, you can. Now, do they want to do that is another story.
Well, you can play each of them 4 games and they still keep a redshirt year. So you get a total of 8 out of the 2.
Yeah, and you've got 3 guys ahead of them. I mean, it's running back. So, I mean, guys can miss 3 or 4 games like it's nothing, right? It's just such a violent position. But I think you could manage touches if you wanted to preserve red shirts for those guys. You could. Do they want to? I don't know. That's a different discussion because I don't think coaches care about that stuff anymore. For Omar, it makes sense because he's enrolling early, like Kale Ellis. That makes sense. Like preserve those guys that are classifying early, to give them as much eligibility as possible. But for an Alvin, like I don't even know if that matters.
Yeah, Alvin is so used to playing. It'd be hard on him to just sit for the entire season. They got to get him in the game in some capacity. My only question is who, again, adapts the playbook, but more importantly, pass protection. That's the big thing with freshman running backs. It's always iffy with that. Otherwise, your point just a minute ago was the one that you beat me to it. Running backs don't stay healthy.
Right.
They just don't. 3 running backs is not enough. It's not.
Right.
And at some point, that's going to hurt you. Remember, like 3 years ago, Ohio State started a true freshman against Michigan, and at the beginning of the season, he was number 4 on their depth chart. That's not where you want to be, but he was just next up, and he played pretty well. But like that's just the way it is sometimes. You need 5 running backs that are viable going into any season. Auburn's got 5 guys, but again, 2 are freshmen. So one of them at least is going to burn the red shirt, in my opinion, if not both. If it's both, that means injuries did smack him around because I'm sure Omar would rather acclimate to college like anybody else unless he just takes over like he's the shock and he goes out and he's a starter or something. I doubt that's going to be the case. So but for him, I hope that goes on. But again, I need to learn more about Jay Lamar. And to my knowledge, they're not going to get Derek Cooper. So my guess is they were hedging their bets.
Yeah, I mean, that seemed like a pipe dream the entire time, right? Jay Lamar, though, I think makes some sense. And I think he's interested. I think he likes Auburn.
Oh, he is.
I put him in that category of like guys who I think like Auburn, but they don't know if this whole process is going to work or not. And so I think if Auburn would have won 8 games last year, I think guys like Jay Lamar would take us a little bit more seriously.
Winning matters, Zach.
It does, especially when part of your sales pitch is we can win a championship here. And the other teams that you're recruiting against, Clemson, Georgia, Alabama, weirdly, going up against Oregon for a lot of these guys, like they do win championships recently, whether it's their conference or, making the playoff or whatever. And so we're saying we can win championships here. And those other guys are saying the same exact thing and they've done it. It's like, you got to start winning. You got to start winning.
I guarantee you that right now Auburn is getting hammered with negative recruiting. And there's really nothing they can do about that because it's just based on what happened last season. And kids have very short memories, as you're well aware. I would imagine that Auburn's having to fend that off. And I don't know how you do that.
No, I think you just do what you can with relationships, which the staff has done an incredible job at. Really, I mean, and Auburn does attract a certain type of person. I mean, it's a great place to be. And then they're competitive with NIL, but until you can just start winning more, like that's what you got.
This season is a lot, not just for the U-Free staff, but for Auburn overall. If you look at it, it's been the better part of 10 years since Auburn was really good. A lot of these kids that they're recruiting now don't remember Auburn being good. In another year or two, nobody will remember literally watching it live, like a team that was deep into the season with a chance to win an SEC title. That 2017 team was really freaking good. But since then, they just have been way too inconsistent, and that's going to hurt them. So this year, they need to win at least 8 games, if not more. And that would give them viability on that point. If they exceed expectations, I'm just throwing this out there. If Auburn goes 9-3, they'll flip some kids. I can just tell you that from being around some of the guys that we interview right in front of the Auburn football. Like everybody enjoys it. The families like it and all that. I really do think it's just win-loss.
I think a lot of these guys want Auburn to be where some of these other programs that are recruiting them are. And I think if it was close, I think Auburn would get more of these guys.
I guarantee you.
I mean, I know you put together that list lately of ranking Hugh Freeze among, head coaches. And it's like, I think for that reason, you could almost argue as just a recruiter, he's high. You put him at 7th, but it's he could be higher. There's an argument there.
It's a weird argument is like he's the one out of that list that doesn't fit. Like everybody else, pretty much there at the very
they're
top.
in the playoff or they're dang close to it, right? Yeah. Let's talk about now the current state of this 2026 class. Do we feel good about it? Because a lot of folks are about to file in across the country. That's next right here on Locked On Auburn. Thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. For your second listen, check out Brian's show, The Portal. That is Locked On's recruiting, NIL, and transfer portal show. Boy, do you have stuff to talk about right now over at The Portal. Give Brian some love. He deserves it. He's putting in great work. So Eric Perry is now the 8th commit in this class. And I'm looking at this on 247's site. He's the lowest ranked player, which isn't shocking. I mean, he's very underscouted. But Auburn's 3 stars, according to 247, Denarius Gray, Parker Pritchett, Wayne Henry, and Eric Perry. And it's just like those collection of 3 stars, it's just like, I don't care what your ranking is. It either makes sense schematically or situationally, or like, I don't know how Denarius Gray and Wayne Henry are 3 stars. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Every one of those kids I've either seen live or seen film or both. And I would take all 3 of those if I was Georgia.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you want to argue like Wayne Henry or, okay, smaller DB or something, that's one thing. But like some of the guys that I've spoken to said he was the best defensive player last year at St. Francis. Every kid at St. Francis on defense plays Division I. Yeah. So
yeah, I think it was Blake Woodby who shared a screenshot of the defense, and there was like the school written out of where they went, and it was unbelievable. And thank goodness a few of them were Auburn. Like, thank goodness.
Yeah, P4 for pretty much everybody. If I was to guess, I don't think anybody.
I think they were all P4. Yeah, it was insane. One might have been a military academy, but that might have been a call.
If that's your low end player,
that also may have been like he may have just wanted to do that too. Like you never know. So that's just and then Parker Pritchett, I think, is a solid interior lineman that you can't have too many of, and it's hard to get those extra stars when you're an interior offensive lineman. So whatever. So when you look at this, Auburn's continuing to slide down the rankings in the 2026 class. It's not because I think they're doing a poor job. It's just we're in this weird spot where not many schools are getting commitments. And if you are one of those schools, you're ahead of everybody. But you're predicting the next 3 to 4 weeks, it's about to be crazy with the house settlement stuff being done and official visits ending on June 20th, I believe is the last weekend of official visits across the country. After all those are done, there's a chance that it's about to be insane keeping up with all of this stuff.
Yeah, here's the deal. All the kids want to commit somewhere around like June 25th to July 8th, 9th. July 4th this year is a Wednesday. So you go 4 days later, it's a Sunday. Between the 4th and the 8th, that's the end of it. The kids want to be done. They want to have everything before the season. This is where it gets interesting with the house settlement / the collectives. This is directly with Auburn. On to Victory is a tremendous collective. For those that do not know, and I still don't see how this is going to work. This is going to be a catastrophe. Welcome to the government. They're getting involved. Everything is Congress and all that stuff. There's going to be a group that overlooks the new quote unquote collectives beginning July 1st. So everybody wants to get their deals done before then, by the way. Mm-hmm. Every single deal that goes over $600, which is 99.99999% is going to go over $600, obviously. Right. They have to go through this clearinghouse if the number matches your worth. Number one, there's going to be lawsuits. That's coming. But secondarily, if you're a kid and you're down to like 3 schools, what if your deal at the other school that they offered gets cleared first? No, I'm being serious.
No, it's such a disaster waiting to happen.
Like, seriously, I'm just going to throw something at you. Let's just use Jay Lamar. Okay. Georgia, Florida State, Auburn, you name a school, they're after him.
Yeah.
If his deal to Miami, and Miami's got a ton of NIL anyway, if it gets done first, you know what I mean? Like, this can change where kids go.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
This is a problem. It doesn't work. And I'm going to tell you what's going to happen immediately. The first time that happens to somebody, and that'll be pretty much in the first 5 days of July, the bags of cash are coming out. The days they're trying to get rid of it's just going to go right back to it. You are not going to, in any way, even by accident, circumvent a school's chance to get an elite player, beginning and end. This clearinghouse is a joke. It does not work.
Well, I think the first one that's going to be crazy is, let's say Ohio State running back gets whatever, and then Penn State running back, same deal, doesn't go through. Then what do? Like, I'm assuming you get sued into oblivion, but I don't know.
That is
I'm not an
exactly what I was
attorney.
going to say. That's what I was going to say. Well, why did he get it? We're from the same area.
Like,
We're
who's
both from
determining
Pittsburgh.
this? It's crazy. It's crazy.
The idea sounds good until you try to implement it. It's just the
so
actual.
I
think it's a disaster too.
All right, so just to put a bow on this, Eric Perry, 3-star, he's listed as a quarterback. Auburn wants him to be a running back, 6 foot, 195. I like the combination of size and speed. I will take 100%. And that, to me, like, I know level of competition is going to be a question mark. No question about it. That's going to be a concern for some people. Offer list is going to be a concern for some people. But the size and speed pairing is why I think this makes sense.
I would not disagree with anything you just said. And he's a kid that, how often do kids like this get this chance? I guarantee you, when they enroll, Eric Perry will be first in line. When Eric Perry goes out on the practice field, he'll be first in line for whatever he can go. He's going to feel honored. This is a great story. Auburn's full of stuff like this too, anyway, like historically. So I love it. Good for them.
Yeah, this guy has the makings of, being a fan favorite and
100%.
a guy who's probably going to be loyal to you, and like you don't have to worry about him entering the portal. Like there's a lot of this that I think makes a ton of sense. And we said it at the top of the show, but I love the confidence that the coaching staff had to give him a committable offer. I mean, we see kids like this get offers, but they're not committable offers. But to give him a committable offer, then Eric Perry understanding the situation, saying that I'm committing. I'm going to take the SEC offer. Thank you.
Auburn has won a lot of games with players like this. I think Jarquez would be the last running back that fits it, ironically, because he just left and headed for this thing they call the National Football League. But
yes,
he was another guy that wasn't ranked probably where he should have been, higher than the Perry kid, but still. And he ended up being one of the best running backs in the Southeastern Conference. He had a chip on his shoulder. You could tell by the way he left marks like a tire track over a toad in the road. He had something to prove, and he did it for 4 years. So hopefully for Eric Perry's sake, he does the same thing.
Yeah, no question. Brian, thank you for hopping on such short notice. How can people check out everything you've got going on?
The Portal Podcast. If you want to know what's going on, who committed, where, previews of recruitments, previews of visit weekends, Auburn included, the Portal Podcast has you covered 7 days a week. I got podcasts. Check it out.
Yep. Nope. He's churning it out for sure. Please like the video. Please subscribe. We'll see you next time. This has been Locked On Auburn.